Hey guys, how is everybody? I hope you're well. Welcome to all the newcomers. If you are new to the channel, I welcome you to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you'll be notified of any of our upcoming projects and builds and other videos. With that said, I don't know, what do you guys think? This old girl deserves some sprucing up. By now you should have seen several videos on it. I got this thing out yesterday, barred it up, got it fired up, and worked the crap out of it. I chunked up several big chunks of wood. I put it in some wood here at the house. Sadly enough, what I done, run 2 whole tanks of fuel through it. They don't hold a lot of fuel, but boy, do they consume a lot of fuel with that big Tillotson carburetor. And they are super slow, but I'm telling you, that's a 404 hard nose. I don't know if we'll get a look at the cutter. It was ground at a 50-degree head angle, 30-degree on the cutter angle, because it's a semi-chisel chain. And I set the drags with my Oregon. It's like a universal depth gauge. It just lays over. It probably sits on at like 30 thou or something, and I went back and took 1 or 2 more swipes off, and boy is she slow. But I'm telling you, and whatever you set it in, you can pull up on the back of the handle as hard as you want to pull. You know how normally you can get about any modern saw to fall on its face, or I can. I'm a pretty big guy, but I was not able to completely stall that saw. I actually had it kick back on me once, quartering up one big ground over at our property. Probably come about a foot from my face. I've never had that happen to saw either. When you hear people say these were old torque monsters, that's what they mean. You can pull on them as hard as you want to pull. The chain will slow down. The engine will slow down almost a bog, but they just keep chugging. If you watched several videos prior to this, you'll see that. But if you can get them in that sweet spot and figure out where they want to be in the RPMs and the right amount of pressure, they don't do half bad for something that's, I think this saw's 59 years old is what I came up with yesterday. So, you know, that's not half bad at all. But Justin had asked, you know, if I'd ported one. I've messed around with several of these things. I've junked several of them out. If you're doing a chainsaw, don't go watch or look at the pictures and videos on porting the cart engine. Honestly, it kills what guts they have, and these are a relatively low compression engine, so taking away any little bit of their bottom end is just detrimental to it. But what I would like to do with this one, I've learned a lot since I've messed with some of the last ones I've done. If you've got some of the older ones that's like a 1-51 and back, I think some of the 200s also had a removable head engine. Those are only 80 cc's, but you are able to get the compression up. But what I have found is that, I don't know, you'll never see them. You see the yellow up there on the shelves up front? There's 2 1-70s there. With some modifications, that is an 87cc engine as well. You can stuff one of those into these. It's actually a narrower engine, to be honest with you. It allows you to put the left-hand start on that engine. They're typically normally a right-hand start. I have one of those on the channel. We'll get it out in a few days, maybe a week or 2. Get it running the way we done this one and make a cut. You can search 1-70 McCulloh, or I think the name of the video is a $12,000 chainsaw. There's kind of some humor behind it. Told my wife to bid $120 and she put in $12,000. Saw bid up to, I think, $170, which was fine by me. I probably would have went that far on it to get it. because it was complete, bar chain and everything, and it took a carburetor and ignition chip to make it run and cut, so that's always a win. But if I do this saw, that might be the plan, might not be. We may build a totally different one. I have done one of these that ran well, but the bottom end of it didn't last. It was a 1-51. Just look up 1-51 hot saw. That'll be the video. It had a card intake and everything on it. Saw was a screamer, but just didn't hold up right. And honestly, I never got to run it with a good bar and chain set up, which is kind of what I'm getting into next. That bar and chain is old. It's wore out, beyond wore out. I have seen Hopper and some other guys put a more modern 3/8 setup on these. This saw does have a rim sprocket, but I'm telling you, the clutch setup on it is just worn slam out, wobble it all over the place. So if we go into this in the future, what I'd like to do with this particular saw, I think, pull it down, reseal it, re-ring it. It just set of steel 660 rings fit them. I have re-ringed several of them. Re-ring it, reseal it, convert it over to electronic ignition, get the ignition timing dialed in just perfect. Do what little bit of port work you can do to them. It's not a lot. These later engines already have the fins cut out that's underneath the intake like the older engines have. Mainly just make sure like the transfer timing and stuff right on it. These are relatively low compression, so we would not touch the exhaust roof on it at all. And sadly enough, there's no room to widen the exhaust ports on these at all either. The two outer ports lay right against basically the transfers, so there's not any meat there at all to grind. And if you try the cylinder lining flakes and you just end up the mess, ask me how I know. I've junked out a bunch of these things, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. I wouldn't want to do anything to it that would hurt it. These do have what's called a third port, where it's piston ported. It's kind of weird. It's got two pedal reeds, and then it has a piston port. I think McCulloh's the only company to ever do that, so, you know, maybe we can figure out a way to get a little more piston ported timing through at it. Maybe get a little more RPM out of it without, you know, killing what bottom end guts it has. Maybe look into finding a different reed material to go in it, where we can squeak a little more RPMs out of it as well that way. But honestly, I think just some simple tweaks and getting ignition timing a little more modernized would really help it out a lot, and getting a 3/8 setup on it with an 8-pin on it would probably really help it out a lot too. But I would never plan on taking something like this out to work with, but thought before I put it back on the shelf we'd just discuss it a little more. You guys let me know what you think about this kind of video, and as always, we really appreciate the few of you that comment, the few of you that thumbs up. I'd like to see more of that. It really helps with the ranking of the video. You know, if 200 people watch it and only 20 or 30 thumbs up, just tells YouTube no one likes it, and they shove it to the side and go on to the next person. But anyway, you guys have a great weekend.